So we're talking right now, Rabotai, about if you remember the two pillars, the pillar of fire and the pillar of the cloud. The cloud was in the front always whenever it was daytime. And what led them during the nighttime? Who remembers? What showed them the way? GPS? In 5 miles, turn right. Huh? Who told them how to turn, where to go? At nighttime? The pillar of fire. It was a pillar, I didn't big thing, made out of fire. And what we said, how did they exchange? How the shifts exchanged? Did the pillar of cloud just disappear? And after some time the fire came?
No.
Huh? Was there any moment that the nation was left without guidance?
No.
No. It was always guidance for the nation, remember? And the Gemara tells us in Masechet Shabbat that the wife of Rav Yosef from this learned when you're supposed to light Shabbat candles. Can you light Shabbat candles at 2 p.m. when Shabbat is at 5 p.m.? No. No? Can you light it at 5 p.m. when Shabbat is at 5 p.m.? Also no. So when should you do it? As soon as the cloud of the pillar of cloud finishes, it's still there, the fire pillar used to come. So Gemara says, this is the day, the current day. When the day is still here, the fire, which is Shabbat candles, the fire, already supposed to be.
So
before that one,
time?
right, before the pillar of the cloud is living, remember?
Why is it 18 minutes candle lighting time?
It's for different reasons why it's that number 18. But the idea is that you're supposed to light Shabbat candles on Friday afternoon already, and not Shabbat candles when Shabbat already came in. Got it?
Rabbi, I thought it was just one pillar. They just changed.
No, the Torah says it was 2 pillars. עמוד האש לילה. וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל וישובו ויחנו לפני פי החירות בין מגדול ובין הים לפני בעל צפון ניחחו תחנו על הים. Look at the Torah says וישובו לאחוריהם לצד מצרים היו מקרבים כל אותו היום השלישי ליציאתם ממצרים. It says שעד עתה היו מתרחקים ממצרים. Until now, it says the Jewish people was distancing themselves from Mitzrayim. Remember, we're talking in a parsha with the Jews already living in Mitzrayim already. נכון? So now, וכאן סובבו את הדרך לאחוריהם. It says over here, they turn around, they want to go back to Egypt. לצד מצרים, שמשם באו. היו חוזרים ומתקרבים כל אותו היום השלישי ליציאת מצרים. 2 days they're walking, on the third day they making a U-turn.
Already?
והוא כדי לעטות את פרעה. Why Hashem made that? The pillar shows them the way. And the pillar shows, go back over there. We just came from there. We're 2 days already walking this direction, away from Mitzrayim, and suddenly the pillar makes a U-turn and says, go over there. Back to Mitzrayim.
Wow.
What's going on? Now imagine a person doesn't have emunah in Hashem. What would he say? The pillar is got confused. The signal is not working. GPS ni palamalse. Maybe Iran took over that GPS. Who knows? Now, right away, you're going to question, what's going on over here? I'm going back? Says Rashi, why Hashem did that? כדי להטעות את פרעה. Hashem, when the Jewish people left, Paro is sitting. He got such a heat. His firstborn son died. For Paro, the firstborn son was the god of gods. That's it. Bechorim, the firstborns, was the gods for them. That's why Hashem killed them at that time. To show them that I'm the God of all the gods. Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm the one in charge, not your Bechorim and not your idols and not all the shטויות you have in your mind. So he killed him. Says Paro is going right now crazy. He says, Moshe, Aaron, get out of Egypt. Take everybody. Go in the middle of the night. What Moshe told him? We're not thieves to run in the middle of the night. We're going to go like men in the morning when everybody going to be up already. Alot HaShachar, we're all going to leave. At that time, Alot HaShachar, everybody was already up. He says now Paro is sitting. He's mourning over his son. He just buried his son. 2 days he's sitting. On the third day, suddenly he sees there's a change. He says, wow, now I can get them. What triggered Paro that he has a hope to get the Jews? Whenever that pillar went back. Says Rashi at that moment, כדי להטעות את פרעה, שיאמר, טועים הם בדרך.
He saw the pillar?
Yeah, that's what the Rashi says. It says he was noticed or he saw the pillar officers that notified him that the Jews are confused, don't know what they're doing.
Coming back.
So if they lost leadership, that's the best time for me to take them back. What is Paro doing? takes all of his last soldiers, takes all the gold, takes everything, carrying it all the way to Yam Suf.
Why gold?
Because there was a god over there, Baal Zephon. How the Avodah Zarah was of this Baal? How do you serve this god of the Goyim? You have to sacrifice the most precious things you have. What was the most precious things? Gold. You have to take out all the gold from the house and show. Imagine you want a God to answer you. You have $50,000 in the account. You have to empty out the $50,000 and just bring it to your God over there. I don't know, burn it, sacrifice, whatever it is. Imagine what a big sacrifice it was. If a person has $1 million in the account, $1 million, he has to go right now and put it. All the gold you have, you have to take it with you. And say, here, I'm sacrificing everything, you have to answer me. What triggered Paro to do such a wrong move? Paro would remain alive. All of his gold will remain in Egypt. All of his soldiers, the last ones he had, will remain in Egypt. Hashem said, I need a trigger. So the Jews looking at it, what are they thinking? God doesn't know what he's doing. Wow, what is he doing? How many times we have this question in our life, Rabotai? Huh? Hashem, I don't know what you're doing. You gave me such a wife, such a mother-in-law, such a father-in-law. Chotakoya, Hashem. Such a good person. Me? You gave me I should have made $1 million a year. Why this guy is making $1 million and I don't make this $1 million? God, you made a confusion, Habibi. You give the bracha to the wrong people. How many times we have this confusion in our life? And what is God saying? Jodi Khalfish, this is all for your best. What you're going to see right now. Why? When the Jews found out why it happened? 4 days after. On the 7th day, when the sea split, the Jews went back, right? One day. Paro is coming out. Hashem said, he is going into my trap. The Jews returned back into Yam Suf. Who is running after them to Yam Suf, to the ocean, to the sea?
Egyptians.
The Egyptians with all their gold, with all the silver and everything. What did Hashem do? He made the Jews pass. The Egyptians all drowned. 4 mitot betin sakila serifai reg v'chayeg happened to them. Stoning, choking, cut the head off, burning, everything happened to them in Yam Suf.
How did they burn?
We're going to see. The Torah is going to say. And all the gold sinks or floats? Sinks big time. Gold is very heavy. It sinks very much, very fast. All of the gold spits. The Yam Suf, spitting it in front of all the legs of the Jews.
Wow.
Who carried all this gold for the Jews? Who was the delivery company? Bepul. Paro and all of his people.
So 2 days they go back.
And the Torah says the amount of gold that they took with them to Yam Suf was much more than the whole nation took when they borrowed the gold from the Egyptians. Hashem told them, go borrow gold from silver, all these things from the Egyptians, right? For you not to come out empty-handed, because I promised Abraham you're going to come out wealthy. Nachon? He says, how much gold and silver they took with them? A lot. He says, all this was not as much as they became rich from the last move that Paro took all the gold. He emptied out all the gold of Egypt. I'm talking about semi-trails and semi-trails of gold. Just imagine what we're talking about. Who paid for all this?
Paro.
Paid by Egyptian government.
On which day they return back again? 4th day?
The 3rd day. Bayom HaShelishi.
So 2 days they go this way. They come back. How long?
They don't come back for too far. They just, that turn,
So maybe 1 day.
they go back, notified Paro,
So it could be 1
they don't know what they're doing.
So 1
They are
day.
confused. That's the time for me to attack.
So it's 1 day because on the 3rd day they go back again. So it's 1 day they come back.
And that's how deep they went back. They just, that turn, confused and turned the mind of Paro. And then he goes back into Yam Suf, and they're running after them. On the 7th day, the sea splits for the Jews, and the Egyptians drown in that sea. Look how HaKadosh Baruch Hu tricked Paro. And all this why? You wanted to trick me? Remember that statement? Let's trick out God. How the God promised that he's not going to bring flood anymore to the world, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the Jewish people, I'm going to throw them in the river. It's water. God said, I'm not going to bring water punishment in the world anymore. You think Hashem, I'm going to trick Hashem? You think you're outsmart Hashem? I'm going to show you, Hashem said. I'm going to outsmart you.
It's a passage that says they
It's
turned around.
unbelievable. You said this like, Hashem did him.
Rashi said they turned around. It says passage.
Rashi, look, Rashi.
No, but in the passage it doesn't say they turned around.
Huh?
It says it. They
No,
turned
it says here. The next pasuk, בפסוק ג' ואמר פרעה לבני ישראל, פרעה said about the Jews, נבוכים הם בארץ, they are lost on the way, סגר עליהם המדבר, and in front of them there is a midbar, they're not closed down, they don't know what they're doing.
So that's why Rashi says they're coming back.
Exactly. ויחנו לפי פני החירות, הוא פתאום, ועכשיו נקרא פי החירות, על שם שנעשו שם בני חורין. So Rashi says, why is this place called פי החירות? The opening of the freedom. He says this place was called the whole time Pitom.
The city.
Yeah, that area it's called Pitom. Suddenly the Torah calls it Pi Achirot. Pi Achirot. It's not it's a different name. It says why the name changed to tell what happened at that place for generations to come. This is the place where the Jews took off. What city the Jews took out from Egypt from?
Pitom.
Pitom. Because Pitom was the city that they took off from, the name changed to the opening of freedom. That's where the freedom started for the Jews. על שם שנעשו שם בני חורין בהם שני סלעים גבוהים וזקופים והגיא שביניהם קרוי פי הסלעים. And Rashi says there was two big rocks, סלעים גבוהים, very tall and big rocks, לפי שהוא דומה לפה פתוח. Why is it called פי? פי הבחירות? So because it's like a opening mouth. If you look at it, it's like a person has a big mouth opening and people went through that mouth. That's why Rashi says it's called P, the mouth of the freedom. The opening of the freedom. לפני בעל צפון, he says there was one last Avodah Zarah that God didn't bomb him. God bombed all the Avodah Zarah, all the idols. Last one, it was left out.
The gold one.
Which one, Aaron? Baal Zephon. Why God didn't bomb him? Because he was not in Egypt. He was on the border of Yam Suf. And how Hashem planned it out, the strategy, strategies. How Hashem played it out, that the Egyptians going to get Papashke big time. Their gods got it first. ובכל אלוהי מצרים אעשה שפטים. And all the gods of Egypt, I'm going to make שפטים. I'm going to give them Papashke. שנשאר קיים מכל אלוהי מצרים. Why? כדי להטעותן. In order to confuse the Egyptians. שיאמרו כי קשה יראתן. It says, why? It says, you see, this is God, this Baal Zephon is the strong God. We thought Nile River is strong. We thought the sheep are strong. We thought the firstborns are strong. We thought all this Avodah Zarah, what they had over there is strong. Eventually we found out who is the strongest one. Baal Zephon. So why? You see, he's the only one remained. He's the one that is strong. Only the strong one survives. Right? The jungle rule, the strong one survives. He survived, so he's the strong one. So what? He's our last hope. What do we have to do to serve that God? To take all the gold. Let's take all the gold to it's Baal Zephon. כדי שיטעו המצרים אמרו, זה האליל חזק מאחרים, מציל את עצמו. He is the one that was saved from the hands of Hashem. בכל זאת, כדי שתתפתה ליבם לרדוף אחרי בני ישראל. All this was a trigger, was a setup for the Egyptians to carry all the gold to the trap. וחושבם שהוא מסוגל להגן עליהם, ועליו פירש איוב, מסגיל לגויים ויעבדם. מגדיל כוחם של הגויים, מגורם להם להתגאות בהצלחתם, ועל ידי זה הוא מאבדם. ואמר פרעה כשישמע שהם שווים לאחוריהם לבני ישראל על בני ישראל. נבוכים הם, כלואים הם, ומשוקעים הם. He says, what is נבוכים הם? They are trapped. נבוך, he's like, I don't know what to do. He's stuck. כלואים הם במדבר שאינם יודעים לצאת ממנו ולכאן ילכו. They don't know their way on the midbar, in the desert, so therefore it's the best time for me to attack. ויקבדה בפרעה, כשהקדוש ברוך הוא מתנקם ברשעים, שמו מתגדל ומתכבד. It says whenever the רשעים get פבשקה, הקדוש ברוך hu's name gets elevated. You see when Saddam Hussein got shechted, hanged, if you remember, the leader of Iraq, remember this Devona? The guy that came with like a Harry Potter from the cave, from the pit, when they found him, remember this Devona? Huh? No, Saddam Hussein. In Iraq, they found this guy for so many years, the time, 2-3 years, I remember they were looking for him. They found him in the pit, on the underground, remember?
Found Saddam, yeah.
Yeah, and they brought him to America and they hang him. They gave a court against him. Huh?
No, they
In
hanged
America,
him
where?
They kill him over
Over there?
there. Hanged him there, yeah.
His own people.
What was it?
So I don't remember. They hanged him. So at that time, you know, this guy was a big son of Israel. I think even through bombs. I think he was the war, right?
He was
92.
in the war of 6 days and
92, right? He was against us. Ma'ach Shimo. V'Hashem zichro. So he was big son of Israel against the Jewish people. Now, what was the end? Got hanged. Now what all the people say? Don't mess up with the Jews. You see right now, the Syrian guy, they're gonna, what's his name was? Assad. Assad lost, right? The government. Somebody told me he came to Israel, he told them all the places where to bomb. You heard about this?
Oh, really?
Yeah. He came to Israeli army.
The Israeli army know all the places.
Yeah, they know.
They know the
They said that he came and he told them, attacked all these places. You're gonna knock down there. He said, if I don't get Syria, I don't want the enemies to get Syria. So instead of fighting with Israel, we right now became sold these old people for the sake of Israel. So says Rashi, anytime the enemies of the Jews get problems, the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets elevated to show that if you are wicked, especially if you are wicked against my people, you're gonna die at the end. You're gonna lose everything in the end. And like this, the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets elevated, and all the world will be afraid not to mess up with the Jewish people. Ahashverosh hated the Jews very much. He said, when Haman came, he said, listen, there is one nation that is not worth for you to keep them. And I said, who's that nation? He said, this is the Jews. He said, take the money, took everything, here's my ring, sign everything you want. He said, do you do it? I said, I'm afraid. Ahashverosh, the head of the world. Trump telling to Canada this, Mexico that. You think he's the head of the world? He cannot kill Canada, he cannot kill Mexico, he cannot kill them, right? He just puts taxes, maxes, all this type of things. He cannot kill them. Ahashverosh could kill any country you want, any people you want. And what did Ahashverosh said? I'm afraid to mess up with the Jews. You want to take care of the job? Here's my ring. Do whatever you want. Leave me alone. So why is that? Because the name of the Jewish people was elevated throughout the whole history. That whoever messes up with the Jews, and then he's going to lose everything, and he's at the end also he's going to lose his life. That's why we always be attached to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always going to bless Am Yisrael. Baruch Adonai Le'olam.